All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Founder of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Before we jump into our lesson, let me remind you to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Smash that notification bell because I don't want you to miss any of our lessons. Check the description box down below. Donation links are there in case you are so inclined. Leave a comment down below. I love the feedback. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start with our lesson. This is part 2 of the 7 seals of God. I think I was doing it of 7 seals and 7 trumpets, right? So right here, this particular lesson, I'm still going to be dealing with the 7 seals. I'm going to extend the lesson out so I can include the 7 trumpets as well. So I figured why stop at the 7 seals, right? But this lesson, we're still just dealing with the 7 seals, just so you know. But I will be doing, extra lesson, whether it needs another part, a third part, and a fourth part, whatever the case may be. I just figured I want to go ahead and include everything else in there, right? So we may be going to the 7 seals. We're in the 7 seals. We're going to extend that to the 7 trumpets, and we may throw in the 7 bowl judgments as well, so that we can have a little bit more of a well-rounded series, right? So we are still talking about the 7 seals of God, and we're going to pretty much pick it up. In fact, we're going to back up a little bit. We're going to back up a little bit, read a couple of scriptures that we did before, and then come forward into our lesson, what we have right now, right? So you can check the description box down below. What we were talking about, we left off like in Isaiah and Matthew 24. We're going to go back to Matthew 24, and then we will continue forward, right? So with that being said, join me over in Matthew 24, because we're looking at the times that we're in, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to the end. So people are starting to feel the desperation in the air. They're starting to feel the economic upheaval. They're looking at high inflation prices. They're looking at the wars and the rumors of wars that the scriptures actually talk about. And they want to make sense of it all. And so this lesson, I will endeavor to try to unravel the mysteries of what is going on in our current world today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into Isaiah 24, and I'm going to start at the first verse, and we'll stop off here and there to kind of explain some things, right? Now, again, I did read Matthew 24, forgive me. I did read Matthew 24 in part 1, right? But I will continue forward and keep, moving and progressing through the lesson. But we're going to start at Matthew 24 once again. So if you will indulge me, verse 1, and Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? And verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. So we notice the first thing is going to be a lot of deception. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, I am anointed, right? And shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. I want to point out the idea that the end is not yet, even though these things are happening, right? Not yet, because a lot more things have to be fulfilled. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. And we most certainly have been getting that, right? And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Very, very key. The end is not yet, and this is the beginning of sorrows. Look at the things that has to be contained in his coming. All these things have to happen first. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness until all nations. And then shall the end come. See, all these things have to happen first. Now, we know that some of these things have been rolling out one by one and unfolding, right? But all these things have to happen, and then the end shall come. But then a few more things are going to happen as well. In 15. And when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in a holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. So we go back to Daniel, and he's talking about the abomination of desolation, talking about, going back into the temple. Now, we know the temple is pretty much destroyed now, but going back into the temple and reenacting, or building a third temple and reenacting sacrifices once again is, of course, it's going to be abominable. If we look back in the Maccabees, we see that the Greeks, they wanted to sacrifice and offer pigs on the altar. Which is why when Judas Maccabees and the rest of the gang got together and they went to the temple, he assigned priests to cleanse the temple because it was defiled. And the Romans followed suit and wanted to do the same thing when you're talking to Vespasius and Titus. Even now, even to this day, the temple is defiled. Why? Because Levites are not there offering the sacrifice. No Levites are there. God's people is not there working the office of the temple. Now, let me go ahead and mind you, of course, we're not going to be offering sacrifices right now. The Bible prophesied that they're going to go without a temple, without an ephod, without a sacrifice. And the Messiah said that all this is going to be destroyed. He's aware that we're going to be living in a day where we cannot offer those sacrifices. Now, the day is coming where the sacrifices will be reinstated. I encourage you to go watch the Return of the Levitical Priesthood lesson that explains that. But right now, the sacrifices are suspended. That's why the Messiah came at the right time. Because he knew, just under 40 years later, that the temple would be destroyed and Israel will not be able to offer sacrifices whatsoever. That's why he became a sacrifice. Amen. So we're going to continue. 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. This talked about 70 AD. And let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Don't come back for anything. Don't come back to the city. It's over. And woe unto them that are with child, pregnant, and them that give suck in those days. Okay, breastfeeding, right? Have a young child. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Okay. For then shall be great tribulation. Okay. Such was not since the beginning of the world to this time. See, it's just nothing. It wasn't nothing like that in Jerusalem, and nothing like that is going to happen in Jerusalem again. Not like that, not to that level. So we got to look at it. Remember our old book, from Babylon to Timbuktu, was chronicling what was happening over in Jerusalem when the Romans came and took over. They encompassed the city. They starved people out. They burned people out. They were just killing them. And as the scripture says, in about page 80, 84, something like that, there was millions of black Jews, millions of them trying to flee from Jerusalem, many of them. And this is the time where they fled into Africa, where they could blend in because we look alike, or very, very similar. And they fled into Africa, and over time and over years, they settled into these African territories, and they went through the Sahara. And that's how you got the Trans-Sahara slave trade, when Arabs came in and they started enslaving them too. Oh yeah, we're different people. Let some more time pass by and they start migrating towards the west of Africa. And we all know what happened to that. The Europeans came, and so the Hamites were selling the Shemites to Japhet. That's where they got their slaves from. And that's who sold slaves. Because they were different, had a different custom, had a different culture, had a different language, had a different belief system, have a different faith. They had Torah and Hebrew. So we see how all these things change. The reason why I pointed all of that, it may have seemed like a digression. Okay, and that's fine. That's fair. However, I was trying to get to a point, and the point is, some people, okay, these are, preterists and things like, they think all this is happening, all this has already occurred in the first century. No. This truth and this prophecy unfolds over time. It's not an all at once type of thing, right? We'll get to this whole "and this generation," right? We'll get to that. But let's look right here. It says, for then, let's see, 22. Let's stop at 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Because if it wasn't shortened, then none of Israel would have made it out of there. None of it would have made it out alive at all. Talking about 70 AD, when it was ransacked. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Okay, we know that transcend Sahara desert. Okay. Go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers. Believe it not. For as the lightning coming out of the east and shining even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And he hadn't come back yet. And some of the texts will show you that he didn't come back. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will be eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and glory. That has not happened yet. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. It's one of the things that has not happened. They have not been gathered unto the four winds. See, here's the thing. That's why I don't believe, in preterism, because, we see some things that are literal. We can look in history. We see it happens or whatever. Like, for example, Israel being scattered. We know Israel has been scattered in all nations through slavery. My question to you is, did it literally happen? Meaning, did they literally go into slavery? Did they literally become captive? Were they literally slaves? Were they literally moved out of their place? And then when the Bible talks about a return or a gathering, then that has to be literal also. That's my point of that. That's why I cannot go with this whole preterism type thing, because why is one half literal, the other half is not? So I can't go with them on that. Okay? So I'm gonna read a little bit more and then we will move on. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and put it forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Okay, this generation. Okay, so like I said before, things unfold over time. And so he's saying this between 30 AD and 33 AD, right? Towards the end of his ministry, right? Which is around 33 AD, something in that neighborhood. And so 70 AD is what? But 40 years later, right? A little less than 40 years later. So the generation that he was talking to right then and there did see the beginning of these tribulations and did see the build up as time was going on. Okay, they see some of the problems and the distress and the persecutions and things like that of the apostles. Only one apostle lived past 70 AD. Okay, as he's talking about it, which is John the Revelator. So what we're looking at here is that we have to understand that some of the people, some people died along the way. Some people made it to 70 AD. Some people made it through 70 AD and that ransacking and stuff like that, and then soon died after that. So this generation, the generation that he's talking about, some of them did see it. Okay, some of them did see it. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So now he's talking about when he comes back, when he comes back, when he comes back. He literally showed up. So I have to believe he's going to literally come back. That's why I'm telling you, it's unfolding over time. Unfolding over time. So we're still talking about the 7 seals. So with that, we're going to go, let's see here. Revelation. Let's read Isaiah 24, 1 through 6. Let's just read Isaiah 24, 1 through 6, and then we'll go to Revelation real quick. Isaiah 24, 1 through 6. So I just want to set the stage. Isaiah 24, 1 through 6. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turn it upside down, and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with her mistress. As with the buyer, so with the seller, and with the lender, so with the borrower. As with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourned and faded away, the world languished and faded away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. And therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Now we're going to go on over to Revelation 8. Let's head on over to Revelation chapter 8. These are sobering times, to say the least. I mean, we are, I think the last time, well, it's been quite some time since I taught this particular lesson, but we're years closer to the end, right? We're years closer. So we're going to read Revelation 8, 1 and 2. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was a silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7th angels, which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. I want you to notice that the trumpets, the 7 trumpets, are contained within the 7 seals. The 7th seal. Okay? And I want to point that out because some people say, oh, well, the seals and the trumpets, they all happen at the same time. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's possible. See, I don't think it's possible because these seals are opening up like one at a time, rolling out pretty much one at a time, right? Because the Bible doesn't say they all open simultaneously. So they're pretty much opening one at a time. And if that be true, you don't see the 7 trumpets until the 7th seal is open. And we read what is contained in these particular seals. All right, and maybe we'll go back and we'll review and look at a couple of things that's in there, right? But He said, and I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. That's very, very important for us to remember. And then we'll start getting our next lesson. We'll get into the trumpets. Right now, we're still, sticking into the seals and things like that. But I also want you to see that there's a space in heaven and all that. I want you to pay attention to that because we're going to get into that on the next, on the next lesson. But let's look over at Romans 3 and 19. Romans 3 and 19. And 19 says, now we know that the things soever the law saith is said to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before God. Now you see how when we were just reading in Isaiah, how Isaiah 24, where there's going to be few men left because most of us are guilty. Technically, all of us are guilty, but not everyone is going to be pardoned for their sins in these last days. In these last days, not everyone is going to make it. And I know there's some people, oh no, and just a third and all that. I get it. I didn't want to go all, that deep. Just not that many people are not going to make it. Okay, I'm not going to get all into the 2/3 and all that stuff. Okay, but the Bible does describe his people as a little flock. He does describe his people as a remnant. See, I'm not the type of teacher that's going to sit here and try to sell some feel-good Kool-Aid and make everybody think that, don't worry about it, everyone's going to make it. No, everyone's not going to make it. There are people who are going to outright reject God, outright reject the Messiah, which some people already do, outright reject the Torah because they ain't got to do it. They're not under that law and all that, outright reject the Bible because they may be atheists. Or they may be Sunday Christian where everything is twisted, warped, and distorted, where it all sounds good, but you don't really have to do anything to it. You can do the easy part, so you can be like the just believe, and that's it, and that's cool, that's great. Hey, I believe in Jesus. I believe he died for my sins. And they have no accountability after that. Ooh, yeah, I know that hurt, but it is what it is. Comes with accountability. But that's why it's going to be so few. Why do you think it's going to be so few? So few are willing to make that sacrifice. So few are willing to do what it takes. So few are willing to take heed. So few. We're going to keep going. Let's keep going. All right, so we're in Romans 3. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 20. Deuteronomy 20. And we're going to read 10 through 12. Deuteronomy 20, 10 through 12. And thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. Okay, talking about taking a city. Okay, taking it. You want peace or you want war? And the Most High is going to come. And he's going to come and he's going to make war. So, like I said, it just depends. Now, this is obviously when, Israel was together and they can go to particular lands and they can take over. He said, okay, let's go make peace or we're going to make war. Let's see how they do. What do they want to do, right? It's kind of like what we say in modern day vernacular. We're going to go there and see what time they're on, right? See what they want to do. And that's how it is now. We're in our land of our captors and stuff like that. It's fine. But there's going to be a day when all of that turns around. All of that's going to be something. It's going to be something else. Because the time that the Most High is going to be on when he comes, after all these seals are done, after all these trumpets are done, is Operation Takeover. I mean, that's all it's going to be. Operation Takeover. Let's go to Luke 14. Luke chapter 14. I'm just going to read a couple of verses in there. Luke 14. And when we get there, we're going to start at 31. Luke 14, 31 to 33. Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desired conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. Okay, so again, we got to come from a spirit of peace. Like right now, look, I just say you try to have or achieve as much peace as possible, because you got to prepare for it. I'm talking physically, talking about spiritually, talking about mentally, so you don't crack under the pressure, so that you don't panic. That's why it's important for us. It's incumbent upon us to understand prophecy, to study these lessons, to understand what is going on. Because again, if you are not one of his, you're not going to understand. And you're going to panic and you're going to fold. And even if you're one of the unlearned elect, meaning one of Israel, then you will still get fooled, even to deceive the very elect. It's important for us to be prepared, because it's like, if you don't understand, it's like I said it once before, when you open up this book and you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the understanding, you cannot properly interpret, or you cannot properly exegete a particular passage, then it's like opening a letter that's not addressed to you. So it's important that you, like the Spirit will come and give you skill and understanding, so that you can understand what it is that you are reading. Or you have a teacher, you have a moray, you have a shepherd, you have someone to explain it to you, to break it down to you, and so that it is consumable to you, that you can swallow it down and understand it. You're supposed to be fed with knowledge and understanding. So again, we're talking about these 7 seals, and this is the conditions of the time. What will it be like in the last days? And that's what we're trying to do. But at the same time, it's not about, especially you as men, quit yourself as men. Not for us to panic, because we have families looking up to us. You have little ones, you might have a wife, you might have other family members looking up to you. Well, what do we do in these dark times? And you got to have a level head. You got to be cool as a cucumber. You got to be, okay, listen, wait, time out. Okay? Let's go to the scripture. Let's see what else is going to be played out here. What's going to be going on at the time? And then if you know what's going to happen, then you can plan accordingly. If you're knowing which way the wind's blowing, then you can act accordingly. And that's what you need. You have to lead your family with the understanding. We're going to keep going. Let's go to Jeremiah 4. Go to Jeremiah chapter 4. Jeremiah chapter 4. We're going to read 19 and 20. In my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled, and suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. Trumpet sounds of war. So you're starting to get it, right? You're starting to understand what is going on. When this danger is coming, and you hear the sound of the trumpet, you start to discern that, oh, whoa, okay, the climate has just changed. The environment has just changed. Understanding, I mean, it's akin to, except we're talking about violence, you know, and we're talking about tribulation. Look at something that's a little bit different. It's like when we go from the revolution we were in, then we got into the assembly line and all that. We went into the industrial revolution, right? And then we moved out of the industrial revolution into the information age. We have a technical revolution. We're moving from the information age, we're moving to the digital age. These things are starting to happen right now. So the same thing, we have to keep our Bible close so we can understand when the different ages, the Bible talks about age, right? Which is a period of time, different ages, from this age to this age. So we have to understand that difference. We got to get that, you see? We have to understand that. We have to be ready. We have to watch. We have to be sober. That's how important this is. We have to be sober in this. Let's keep going. Let's go back to Revelation. Let's go back to Revelation. And what we're going to do, because I know what you guys have there, and we're going to get that, but we're going to go back to Revelation first, because I want to go back over these seals one more time. Okay, we're going to go back over these seals one more time. Revelation 5. Okay, Revelation 5, first 5 verses. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with the 7 seals. Okay, 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in heaven, nor in earth, nor under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. And he said, and he took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 4 and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. Look at where Israel coming from. Look at where they're coming from. He took them out of what? Every kindred, every tongue, and every people, and every nation. Let's look at that, okay? Let's look at that. Revelation 5:9. I'm going to look at that in the Strong's real quick. Okay? Go ahead and settle something. Get something nice and settled here. Revelation 5. We're going to look at 9. Okay? He said, out of every kindred, in the Greek, 54:43. What's a kindred? Out of every tribe. Okay? In the New Testament, all persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarchs. Okay? A nation, an offshoot, that is race or a clan, kindred, tribe. So, out of every clan, kindred, tribe. Okay? So we have that. That's a kindred. What about tongue? A tongue, member of the body, organs, okay? But the other definition, the language or dialect used by particular people distinct from that of other nations. By implications, a language. So you take them out of every clan, tribe, language, people or people, laos, a people group, tribe, nation, all those who are the same stock and language. a people in general, thus differing from, which denotes one's own populace, a people. So that's what he got it out of. Pulled him out of everywhere. Okay? And has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beast and the elders. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches, and has wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne. And unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the fourth beast said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshiped him that liveth forever and ever. So we're going to go. We're in 6. We're in Revelation 6. And we're going to read the first 11 verses there. I want to get these seals here. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of a thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon it had a bow, and the crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. I want you guys, look at your screen. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast saying, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Okay, this is for battle. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And behold, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat upon it had a pair of balances in his hand. We're going to see what that is also, right? Usually for the economy. Symbol for the economy, money. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts and say, a measure of wheat for the penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also, and the children and their brethren, that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. We read that somewhere in Matthew. And the earth departed as a scroll when it rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place, like an earthquake, a great one, right? And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? I want you guys to understand something that was kind of interesting in some of the passages that I read, some of the things that jumped out to me is that when the sky is rolled back like a scroll, basically opens up, right? And then the king, the lamb, is coming. It seems like they kind of know him. They know, okay, oh boy, this is bad, right? This is bad. Hide us from the wrath of the lamb. Now the rest of the world may not know. They may not recognize, because they will be deceived by Antichrist. But there's some people, the people outlined right here, some great men, some rich men, and some chief captains, and some mighty men, and some bondmen. You know, this is with every bondman and every free man. Okay, there's gonna be a bunch of people who actually do know, what is going on, and they're ready to hide because they already know they can't withstand what's about to happen. We have to catch some of these things. There's people out there who are playing with your lives. They're playing with your lives. Let's look at these seals. Now, when we talk about these seals, brothers and sisters, we're talking about the conditions of the earth. We're talking about, what will the environment be like, right? We already know we're under the influence of the prince of the power of the air. We already know that. And we understand some of these seals have already opened. And I was looking at some of the different seals, and what is it? They're talking about those horses right there. So there's going to be some death, and there's going to be some famine. And what does it say? Over here, let me go back to what some of the things. So you got the balance. So there's going to be economic issues, and it says that they're going to be killed with the sword. Okay, and power in verse 8. Okay, of chapter 6, verse 8, in the middle of it. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. So a quarter of the earth will be killed with a sword, and with hunger, and with death. It will be dying, and with the beasts of the earth. Okay, so a quarter of the population is going to die that way. So the death toll is going to start adding up. It won't be utterly done, because we still have trumpets to deal with. Okay, so these are some of the details that I just want you to understand. What's going to happen? What are some of the conditions? What's going to be going on? Well, a lot's going to be going on. So some of these, like I said, these seals are already open. Not all of them. I don't think the seventh one is open just yet, but I think it's close. I think it's getting there. I do. I think it's getting there. If we look at some of these things here. Okay, sixth seal, I don't know, we might be around the 6, but I'm not gonna call it. I'm not gonna call it, because then I gotta hear debate and argue back and forth, and I don't feel like doing it. I want people to get the gist of it, right? But I think we're close. I think we're very, very close, because all these things, if we look at history, all these things are happening, and they're happening in earnest, and they're happening more and more than before. More than before, these things are starting to happen. More wars, more earthquakes. There's more people are still starving. More people are going to be starving. Why? Because at least in the West, we got a bunch of GMO type food, so we're definitely going to be hurting for food. Half the stuff we call food isn't food at all. Definitely gonna be hurting with that. We got the scales, right? We got the scales in his hand and all that. How's the economy right now? How's inflation right now? As you listen to this lesson. I know in the past week or so you've been to the grocery store. You noticed something a little different in the prices lately? What about the death toll? Happening everywhere, isn't it? And it's only going to increase, much like birth pains. It's only going to increase. Let's get back into this lesson real quick. I just want you guys to get the gravity of the situation. I want you to understand what's going on. This is the signs of the time. This is what's going on. This is the sign of the time. So we're going to go back to Jeremiah 4, and we read 4, and we'll go 20 and 21. Go back to Jeremiah. Okay. And we'll read verse 20 and 21. Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled, and suddenly are my tents spoiled and my curtains in a moment. We're going to read a little bit more. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? That's us. For my people is foolish, and they have not known me. They are sottish children. Okay? And they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Let's go with sottish. Okay, let's go ahead and look into the Strongs and see what we are, because I need to know if we're going to be ignorant when it comes to this, these end times, right? 4, and we're going to go over here in 22. Okay, sottish. What's sottish? Sakal. Okay, fool. That's what it means, a fool. They are foolish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. And I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. And I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heaven were fled. And I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and by his fierce anger. Okay? And by his fierce anger. For thus hath the Lord said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end. So everyone's not going to die during this period. For this shall the earth mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it, and I have purposed it, and will not repent, neither will I turn back from it. So all these things have to come to pass, brothers and sisters. Okay? And this is just in the seal part. We're like I said, we're not in the trumpets portion of it just yet. I wanted to get to the seals portion of it. Now, the 7th seal is going to open up the 7 trumpets. So naturally, we're going to have to deal with the 7 trumpets. That's when the heat gets turned up quite a bit more. And we'll deal with that on the next lesson. But that's when it happens quite a bit more. Now, we did all this reading because I want you to see. I don't want y'all to miss the point of the lesson. What's going to happen? What is the conditions of the world? I'll just say right now, we're living in the seals right now. Okay, I don't quite think we made it to the 7th seal just yet. Well, not the 7th seal, the 7th seal just yet. But the trumpets, I know they are in there. Okay, but again, this is going to be an unfolding, and it doesn't mean that the seal stops. So even if we are at the 7th seal and the trumpets come out, it doesn't mean that the other stuff has stopped. Doesn't mean that famine has stopped, war has stopped, pestilence has stopped. Doesn't mean the love of many has stopped waxing cold. We know that ain't true. We know that is not true. But if we look, hold on one second here. Let's go back to Revelation. Okay, go back to Revelation. We go to Revelation right there. I was in 6. Okay, I was in 6. And what is 17? Okay, so that was in the, that dealt with 6. That dealt with the 6th trumpet, right? So yeah. So that verse 12, it deals with the 6th seal, the 6th seal. Okay, and it says all the things that going to happen there. Okay, stars of heaven fell, and as a fig casts her untimely figs, the heaven depart back as a stroll, and every mountain moved out of its place. That's what I'm saying. I'm not quite sure we're there yet, but we do know if I look at Revelation 8:1, and then there was a silence in heaven, and then I saw the 7th angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. Okay, that's when the 7th seal was open. The 7th seal opened up, boom, we got 7 trumpets. So we may be in that area there. Okay? And we'll deal with some more of the trumpets and stuff when they begin to sound in the next lesson. So somewhere, the sixth seal and the seventh seal. Somewhere there, I'm not sure, but let me look at that a little bit more, right? But again, like I said before earlier in this lesson, everything doesn't happen all at once. It rolls out because it's got to cover enough people and enough generations. This whole thing's got to cover enough people and enough generations. The message has got to get out to enough people and enough generations. Let's go to Job 5. See where we are here. We're going to go on over to Job chapter 5. And it looks like we're just going to read one verse before we get out of here. Job chapter 5, let's read 19. And he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Okay, just symbolic. In 7, it's going to be fine after 7. At the last trump, that is it. That's when our conquering king shows up. To come to places one world government, his government, not the fake one that's going to come up, not the fake one that's going to come up by man, designed by man. We're talking about the real one where he comes up, where he shows up, where he opens up those clouds and he descends on the earth, and they come to make war with the Lamb. We'll get into all that. We're talking about the vision of the statue in Daniel. See, we're getting down to the toes with iron and clay that don't quite mix together, right? That's where we're going. That's what we're living in right now. These nations are trying to get together, but they don't quite mix because everyone has their own little agenda, but they're going to try to form an alliance there. And when that happens, all we have to do is look for a central figure. When that happens. See, a lot of the nations right now are still divided. I mean, you have your United Nations and you have your BRICS and stuff like, forming their own little thing over there. We see there's wars over in the, you have your Middle East ideas, and you have what's happening over in Ukraine. Still have Korea, still got things going on. China some things going on. So you still got a lot of rumors of wars, and you actually have some real wars out there. You have some things really going on right now. And I hadn't even gotten into the economy. So the stage is being set. And treaties will be broken, alliances will be formed and broken. We're in the Babylonian statue with the 10 toes, the legs of iron and of clay that doesn't quite mix together. That's why it's way different than the head of gold and the silver chest and the bronze thighs and all that. That's why it's different. It's mixing. They're going to try to form something. It's not going to quite gel. This is what I'm telling you. I think we are in the seals right now, brothers and sisters. We're in there. Now, trumpets are about to sound. The question is, will you hear it? Will you understand what's going on? Join me for the next lesson. The 7 trumpets, and we'll investigate. We'll take a look. So you and I, we both can be prepared. So you and I can recognize and we can hear the sound, when we can know the signs of the seasons. Let's do that, brothers and sisters. Join me on that next lesson. Now, before we get out of here, let me encourage all of you to like, share, subscribe. Please tell a friend to tell a friend and tell a friend. Smash that notification bell. Donation links are in the comment or in the description box if you feel so inclined. Search the scriptures. Improve all things. Shalom, Israel. I'll see you guys on the next lesson.